Welcome to Connect with Ali show, where we invite guests from different country, different culture, different background, and different religion to talk about diversity, inclusion, equity, and community. In this episode, we have a guest all the way from Lebanon, Reem Fayyad, to talk about your journey as an immigrant, the challenges faced, and to talk about music, about the Arab Culture Club, and the Arabica, and much more. So please help me welcome Reem Fayyad, and let's go to get to know Reem Fayyad. Welcome, Reem.
Thank you very much, Ali.
Nice to have you.
Thanks for inviting me.
Reem, tell us a little bit, who is Reem?
Who is Reem? Okay, so Reem is, I'm a Lebanese person. I came from, I lived in different places. Mm-hmm. I lived in Lebanon, in Kuwait, in Dubai before I came here to Moncton. Mm-hmm. I have a master's in environmental sciences and environmental health from Beirut. Currently, I'm working as an executive director for performance measurement at the New Brunswick Health Council.
Nice, nice. So this is Reem professionally. So what is Reem passionate about? A lot.
Where do I start? So obviously, besides my professional life, family is obviously a very important part of my life, but I've always had a big passion for anything that has to do with culture. Mm-hmm. So I write. I like the literature word, like the literary word. I write poetry and I like reading. I also am so passionate about music, obviously, singing mainly, especially Arabic, classical Arabic music. So anything that has to do with arts and culture. And recently I've been part of, I'm volunteered in the community on boards that have to do with culture in the city of Moncton. I'm on the board of the Fry Festival. I'm also on the cultural board of the city of Moncton. So, and besides the Arab Culture Club, obviously, which
amazing.
is
so you put so many hats, like a poet,
wearing so many hats,
an author, an artist. Amazing, amazing.
Thank you.
So tell us about Reem, your journey as an immigrant. I know the journey to choose a different country.
Yes,
it's not an easy. What's some of the challenges that faced Reem as an immigrant?
Yeah, probably it's. If I think about like my life, I've been always a mover. If I would say, because I've lived in, as I mentioned, in different places. I was originally born in Kuwait, and then we moved back to Lebanon, then I moved to Dubai, and then I moved to Moncton. So the changing places has always been part of my journey. So that's why the perspective is a little bit different. It's not like when you move somewhere for the first place. In Moncton, I've been here for 12 years now, and I have to say that immigration to Canada had never been in my thoughts in the early years. I was satisfied, like where I was working or living. However, things sometimes happen by default. I met my husband when he was in the process of moving to Moncton. At the time, we met in Lebanon, and so I was destined, I guess, to come to Moncton. The first year was obviously a challenge. When you move, coming from Dubai to Moncton, obviously, is a big shift.
Big difference.
People definitely know the difference between the two cities. It's a different scale, it's a different type lifestyle, and so on. There has been, for me, the change, the first year was multiple folds. Like I was, at the time, changing my marital status. I was changing my employment status. I had always been someone who was independent and working since I graduated. So moving to a place where you don't know if you're going to find a job, that was also not easy. I was changing a country, winter. I think all immigrants would agree on the winter. aspect, and the temperature, the time zone, the culture, the bilingualism. At the beginning, it wasn't easy to add one more language that I wasn't comfortable with at the time. So all of that was like a package of changes coming all at once. So, and I also was on a work permit when I came here. So trying to find a job wasn't easy, and I couldn't study because I was on a work permit. But I think it took me only 1 year to find the job I ended up getting, and I've been with my organization for 10 years now.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I think the game changer for me, like to get over the struggle, I would have to say 2 factors maybe. One was the support I had around me, the network at the beginning from the Lebanese community that we had a network with, which was very supportive. And also the game changer was finding the job.
Okay.
And getting to connect with Canadians through the workplace was my entry point, like to the community and.
Okay, amazing. So you mentioned winter.
Yes.
So I was curious, which month when you arrived? Was it in winter time?
I arrived in September.
Okay.
I arrived in September.
So that's good.
It was a good introduction, I guess. I remember the September, like in September 2010. It was very gray and rainy. It's at least better than snow.
Yeah.
I have to say that people always, like my friends, laugh at me about how much I don't like winter. I like, especially if you come from like Dubai or like the Middle East in general, we have warm temperatures. So it was a big shift for sure. Yeah. But like now I say I'm okay with winter now. I used to hate it.
Get used to it now.
Or you never. Now I'm okay with it now. So I think I'm getting closer to like it.
Yeah, we have to, like, otherwise if you don't, you will be like,
Exactly, yeah.
So the next question, my friend Reem, what is what is something funny that happened to you as an immigrant? Something like culture difference or culture shock or anything that...
Okay, there could be so many things actually. Like, I would say, yeah, one of the things that was positively interesting for me when I came to Moncton, and it's just to speak to how the community is very welcoming and friendly. I was so impressed by, let's say, when you want to cross the street, how the cars stop and like let you pass. Even when my parents visited me, actually, the year after I came, they were very impressed by that kind of, it's a very simple thing, but like you would notice a big difference in the overall style of how people interact or how the system works and functions. So that was kind of very impressive for me. The winter, I had lots of stories about winter. I'm not going to share now. But yeah, one of the funny things about trying to adjust to winter was when I took on like the initiative to go. My husband, by the way, he loves winter, so I tried to kind of go with him in this passion.
He must do a lot of activity.
He likes ski, he likes skating. So at some point in time, I said, okay, let me give it a try. So we booked a trip to Mont Tremblant in Quebec, and I said, okay, I'm going to take lessons, and I'm going to try to ski. And I have to say, I told him, go enjoy your ski. I'm going to try to learn in the class. I was all the time on the ground. Eventually he called me, and I was like struggling, trying to stand up, and I was like, come pick me up, because I just can't take it anymore. So yeah, winter
time.
Winter and snow.
Yeah, I can relate, my friend, too, when I went to Sussex.
Yeah.
Sussex, and I was trying to do that.
The pizza.
So like I try to keep my leg together. I say, why they are good?
Yeah.
So
you don't control it anymore. No. So just like forget about it.
And you see people like you are going down, and you see people still move because
get out of the way.
But it's fun, like especially like winter, as you said, Reem. If you don't do something to make it fun, you will be just like sitting home and complain. When is it going to finish? It's not going to finish. It's like few months.
No, exactly. Like 2 years ago, I started to try snowshoeing. So people said, if you don't ski, maybe you can try to snowshoe. It's easier. It's not as intense. Yeah, I think I'm getting there.
Getting there.
I'm getting there.
Skating.
10, 12 years, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, getting there. Slowly.
Slowly.
So that's the fun of winter here in Canada.
Exactly.
It's like you have to embrace it, accept it, and do something, get out to have fun with it. And my friend Reem, that just brings us to the next question before we go to the fun part, which is you're passionate about.
Yes.
What's some of the advices you would give to the newcomer?
I think if I think about my journey and like how also I've interacted with many of my friends who were newcomers, what always comes to mind is that I would tell any newcomer that when you make a decision to move or to shift it's a big shift. You're making a very bold decision to change places. You need to embrace that with an open heart and mind. And you need to know that when you come to a new community, it's true that you're going to expect the community to be welcoming, and that is going to expect them to provide you with the support and so on. But there's also a role that you have to play to be able to get closer to the community, not just wait for the community to get closer to you. So I would encourage anyone who comes here to always focus on the positive things. Everything has challenges to it, so if you keep focusing on the negative, you're not going to enjoy your life. And take initiative toward the community you're part of, because they are going to receive you with open arms. You just need to try, and even if it takes you more than one attempt. Amazing.
What a great advice. Give and take, and be able to adapt and change and integrate. And that just will bring us to the next part. What does music represent to you?
Music, I would say it's my happy place. It's the thing I enjoy, and it takes me to another world. It's definitely a universal language. Music is something that cuts across different cultures, backgrounds. When you're listening to music, regardless from which culture you're coming to or which culture you're listening, like for their music, you have that connection that you don't need to understand the language. It just speaks to your soul. So to me, it's something that energizes me. Okay,
so energy and life itself.
Yes, exactly.
Amazing. Yeah. What's a good way to put it? And that just will bring us to, since it's part of the music, tell us a little bit about, you are a member of the Arabic club culture. What inspired you guys to start this club, and what are some of the activity that you guys get involved or organize?
Well, the Arab Culture Club started officially it started in 2019, but before that, what led us to start that idea was when I first came here, I obviously interacted with a lot of multicultural organizations, be it settlement agencies, ethnocultural associations. I was part of the Lebanese Association as well, and we did a lot of activities. And I've seen also other ethnocultural associations and what they're focusing on. I felt that most of the focus of these activities were social in nature, which is very important. Like people need to connect and socialize through enjoying food and potlucks and things like that. But I've always felt that there's something deeper in our culture that we'd like to show and share with the world, because it speaks to another dimension that people usually don't see. And not everyone might be interested in the same thing, but there's a group who might be interested in that other dimension as well. So the idea started to come from that perspective. I've seen also how Moncton has been growing in welcoming newcomers and those who speak Arabic or who come from Arabic backgrounds. So the community was expanding, and I've interacted with so many people who tended to be so much interested when I tell them, let's say, I write poetry or I sing Arabic songs, and then when they would listen to the songs or I try to translate some of the poetry, they would ask me to actually read it in Arabic, and they would like to listen to it. So I found there's an appetite for that, be it from Canadians or from Arab Canadians as well, who live here. So even Arabic letters. I remember in Mosaic, in one of the events at the booth of the Lebanese Association, we offered people to write their names in Arabic letters. And that was like very well received. So in any case, the idea started to brew in terms of, okay, why don't we try to share with the community things around music, Arabic music, Arabic literature, the language. And I spoke to some friends and they shared that kind of passion or like interest. So that's how it started. And in the end of 2019, we started our club. So in terms of the activities, you asked me what kind of activities. I have to say we were not very, very lucky. When we started, it was right before the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. However, we did lots of various activities. We started in November 2019. We did some activities at the library for children, storytelling and sharing stories in Arabic and translations as well. We did a big event right before COVID-19 started at the public library in Moncton, reading poetry in 3 languages.
Amazing.
So we read in Arabic, English, and French. And our target has always been it's not just about Arabic, we want to leverage the beauty of the language as a bridge to make the connection with the community. So we did the poetry event. Also, it was a very big success. COVID-19 started, so we shifted to virtual activities. And one of the big things we've done virtually was a discussion session about the question, where are you from? That all newcomers tend to are exposed to, and it can create different reactions. So the discussion took a scientific academic approach and had lived stories, and it took it from a very kind of 2 perspectives, from the asker and the responder. How do they perceive that? So that was one, and we've done Dardashat. Dardashat was a virtual program. It is still ongoing, and it targets a specific form of art, whereby we host someone who's from the Arabic perspective and someone from the Canadian perspective to speak about that form of art. So we did 2 sessions. One was with the Canadian Arab Orchestra, with a Canadian musician, Pierre-André Doucet. It was very enriching, talking about Arabic music from those 2 perspectives. And the other one was about poetry. We did it for Valentine's Day, and it was about love in the poetry of Nizar Qabbani, the great poet of love.
Great poet, yeah.
And also it hosted the 2 poet laureates in the city of Moncton. It was a very enriching discussion, virtual, but it was very, very enriching. And the most recent event that we had just last Sunday, Quest for Tarab, and celebrating the Arab Heritage Month in general.
Amazing, amazing. Wow, you guys doing really a lot of good stuff, and to represent the Arab culture the best you can. And
that's what we strive to do, yeah.
I applaud you big time. And since you mentioned the Arab Heritage Month, that was last month,
April, yes.
April.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, just briefly, and what does it represent to the Arab community in
Yes, for sure. Arab Heritage Month, I have to say, it is April. It is already acclaimed in the States. It's not formally acknowledged yet in Canada. Okay. There was a bill that was proposed in February by MP David McGuinty, and it's to be passed very soon. So once it's passed, then it's going to be also officially acknowledged in Canada. So we leverage the efforts that the Canadian Arab Institute was trying to do to promote that. They were the ones advocating for that to happen. And we partnered with them to celebrate Arab Heritage Month and to showcase the Arab culture and to create this sense of showcasing our culture, to show the Arab community how proud we are about our heritage and our rich background in all its forms. And also, as I mentioned, get this connection and create the connection with the Canadian community so that they get to know about our background and our heritage better.
Amazing. And you guys doing a good job. Honestly, I'd like what I see following you, and you guys doing a really, really good job.
Thank you.
And you mentioned earlier as well about the calligraphy when you did that with the Lebanese Association, and people stop at the booth and they want to see the writing and see that stuff. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Yes, for sure. Like one of the activities that we've done to celebrate Arab Heritage Month was also an art exhibit, and we call it Visual Language Exhibit, which showcases Arabic calligraphy. And it was for an Egyptian artist, Tariq Laisi, who basically gave us permission to have digital prints of his beautiful art that was also shared at Aberdeen during the same evening. So Arabic calligraphy is one form of art that's it's very beautiful because it leverages the beauty of the Arabic letters, the curves that we have in Arabic alphabets.
From right to left.
Yes, yeah, that was always something that people kind of hinted at. Speaking of that, there's a funny story here about the Arabic calligraphy or writing. At one of the events at my workplace, I offered my friends to write their names in Arabic. And I posted them on the wall, and I asked everyone to try to guess which is everyone's name. So it was an interesting competition, and people were trying to figure out like based on like their letters, but they were doing it from left to right, and that didn't make sense.
Doesn't look like
so, no. So yeah, the right to left thing is always something very, very special about the language, and we have a lot of beauty in the curves of the letters, and the fact that we connect the letters as well, which is something that not all languages have as well. So as we said it when we did this exhibit, Arabic calligraphy is about letters that to look at rather than letters to read. So it's just to enjoy
Love that.
it.
Can you repeat that again?
Calligraphy, Arabic calligraphy is about letters to look at, not letters to read.
To read, it's an art.
It is an art, it is an art. And depending on how the artist approaches it, with the colors and the blends, it's not just about like creating a font or writing a statement. It is an art by itself. It was part of graffiti in many places, and it's evolving in a whole domain now.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for educating us about this calligraphy, and we will get into that more in the future. And that just will be, I know time is kind of is coming to us quick, but can you tell us a little bit about Arabica? What inspired you guys to start that, and why Arabica? Not another name.
Yeah, I have to give credit here in Arabica to obviously the founders of Arabica, who are Khalid Badr Zaman and Mohammed Dahib.
Okay.
These are my friends. They are from Morocco. They were the founders of the band, and it started in 2008 or 2009, even before I arrived in Moncton. So I got to know them in some events around the community, and around the same time we started to see the big influx of Arab or the expansion of the Arab community here. I reached out to Khalid and Mohammed, and I proposed that we include a performance in Arabic in Mosaic. Amazing. In 2017. At the time, it was part of me being in the Lebanese Association, and we tried to bring that forward. And we had a great event at the time, so I kind of placed myself in Arabica through that. They were very welcoming to me, and
it's a good combination.
I really appreciate their welcoming me in the band. The name, I like the name because it's a mix of Arabic, the way I see it, Arabic and musica. So Arabica,
okay.
That's how I interpreted it. But it's the band has been really growing very fast, and since the time we performed in 2017, we've been receiving lots of requests in different events. In 2020, actually, the city of Moncton invited us to kickstart their virtual celebration of Canada Day.
Amazing.
So it was a very important milestone for us, and we really we're happy about how the community has been embracing Arabic music.
Amazing. And what I like about Arabica too, it's diverse. Like there is different nationality there too. Think Lebanon, Morocco. Even I think there's a Canadian one of the...
Actually, in the quest for Tarab, we were approached by a Canadian musician, Louis-Marc Boutour, who's been so much about world music, and he's enjoying being part of the band. He's bringing this different perspective, academic, very like he's professional. He's taking it from a very solid status, and he's bringing a very rich element to the band. So we have now someone from Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, Morocco, Tunisia. Amal Kilani was with us in the Quest for Tarab. She was also your guest a few episodes ago. So yeah, it's all about diversity, and it's all about bringing the Arabic music in a beautiful way to the community.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us, Reem. And I really like when you said Arabica, it's coming from a kind of Arabic and musica. So let's take us to musica, and can you sing a song to us? She's talking about Arabic and music, so let's make an Arabica.
Okay, let's see if that's good. Okay, so, okay, but I think I'm gonna try to sing a song that blends both poetry and music and Fairuz.
Okay.
So it's أعطني النايا وغني, which is a poem by Gibran, Khalil Gibran, and it was one of Fairuz's famous songs as well.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
أعطني النايا وغني فالغنى سر الخلود وأنين الناي يبقى بعد أن يفنى الوجود هل تخذت الغابة مثلي منزلا دون القصور فتتبعت السواقي وتسلقت الصخور هل تحممت بعطر وتنشفت بنور وشربت الفجر خمرا في كؤوس من أثير.
Wow, wow.
Thank you.
That was amazing, Reem. I really
you,
appreciate it. And sorry, we were surprised you with that, but it was a good way to finish.
Thank you very much.
Show. And,
thank you.
We appreciate you, Reem, so much, and thank you for this amazing episode.
Thanks for the opportunity, Ali.
Thank you very much. See you next time, and looking forward for next episode. And would like to thank Reem for this amazing episode. Check us out, and if you have any comment or any suggestion, just send it to the link below. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.